I'm doing a 45-minute session for a client. I'm going to go ahead and read the goals and get started. Okay. I've been going through a big shift recently, understanding that I have cosmic aspects and past human lives that have been affecting me in the here and now. I often feel great heaviness within me, throat, heart, head, chest. But I'm so unsure about where it's coming from, and I'm looking for some answers regarding that. Is this heaviness from a past life or this life? What is going on around it? How can I work through it? How can I best step into and recognize my unique soul gifts, soul signature? I feel as though I am a Hadarian starseed because that resonates, and I have felt some serious activations around them. Interesting. I don't know what a Hadarian starseed is. I want to find out. Okay. Okay. So you felt some serious activations around them. Okay. But I'm also searching for some clarity here too around my cosmic origin and where my soul is from. And of course, in general, what do I need to know right now? Oh my gosh. You've shared so many unique things. Like, oh gosh, we're gonna have so much fun. Cosmic origins, Hadarian starseed. How can I best step into and recognize my unique soul gifts, soul signature? And we're going to take a look at this heaviness, okay? And any kind of past lives, past human lives, alien lives, cosmic stuff, okay? Thank you so much for the opportunity to meet you, and thank you so much for exploring a session with me and then making it open for others, because we can learn so much from each other. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm still getting in the zone. I'm still like absorbing all this energy content in. And I want to make sure that I remember all the little details because I want to touch on everything, as much of everything as I can here, okay? Okay. All right, here we go. I'm going to relax now and get started. I will say there's something abundantly bright and it's very wonderful to experience it. It's not like your average light. I feel kind of like a fish. I'm a person that is a fish person. I don't know. It's like I have a unique type of skin. I could live underwater. I could live above water. So dolphins, for instance, they breathe oxygen, but they live underwater. So there's something unique to this, the way I feel right now as a being that's like a humanoid fish creature. But I'm also surrounded by this everlasting, like ever glowing, radiant energy. And it is light, but I want to call it more like energy than light. It's a living substance, and I feel it all around me. And I'm walking up some steps, some pretty stairs, and it's very energy world like, kind of like walking up heavenly stairs into like a heavenly place where there's this beautiful pink glow, this beautiful white light, kind of intermixed with like super bright beams of light that are kind of like a star of energy that is going in every direction. And I'm this like humanoid fish person, but I feel beautiful. I feel natural. I feel I feel lovely. I feel feminine as well. Now, this is interesting, this next thing. I'm walking up the final step, and all of me has reached this like platform of beautiful energy, okay? But I have a foot and an ankle. There's like a door, a trap door or something that suddenly closes, and I can't get my foot off of that step to come up so that I'm whole in this space. I just have a foot and my ankle is kind of caught by some sort of trap door that just closed on it. And it's like it's circular, so it's around, it surrounds it, like it's you're stuck. You can't get your foot out of that. So this is a little bit surprising. This is really, really not good because as this humanoid being, my relationship with right and wrong, or um, it's almost like I feel at peace. I feel this emanating at peace. I feel like there's nothing wrong with following your heart, and that is the only instinctive way to be. But when something that happens outside of the realm of what feels so natural and so normal all the time for eternity, and suddenly something isn't natural, like this is not normal, this isn't supposed to happen, it creates an instantaneous ripping sensation inside, literally what could be, it doesn't necessarily say it's from the head, but I feel it caught like the hanging ball in the throat. It's almost like something ripped from that hanging ball on to down through the throat, through the heart and chest region, and then it just rips. Like I feel like this terrible internal rip take place, and I'm like this, and my head is going delirious because it can't compute. Let's say every day for eternity was this joyful heavenly experience. Then suddenly trapdoor on the foot and you can't get your foot up, and something triggers a sensation of fear that never had been experienced or felt ever before in all eternity. Okay. That fear creates a rip. Okay. And now there's this crazy struggle of confusion because now the rip is also the domino effect of fear. So it starts with the ankle. Now there's this rip, and now the rip is creating this this sensation of like blah, 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 blah in the head. It like literally is like this blah, 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 blah. The head is doing this. Okay. It's like sending out this energy. And it's like a spiral. It's like it's getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. It would be like a weird panic attack. It would be like an alien version of a panic attack. I'm just having this. I'm just in this experience right now. You can't stop it. It's now that the ball's rolling. Now that the dominoes have fallen. Like we gotta go. We gotta follow this all the way through. I'm just standing here watching this. I'm just watching you falling apart inside yourself. I mean, I still feel the rip and I feel the head it just like, it can't stop this. It can't just stop for a minute and just say that it was startled. For some reason, this triggered an event of such severe panic and such severe fear that it can't undo it, and it can't collect itself. It can't even go back and say, I don't know, I just got freaked out there. I'm totally fine now. I'm totally fine. No, it can't do that. I'm still like kind of in shock. Because I'm just like in shock that this is still like you're still going through a ripple, a circulation of just total breakdown. But I just feel primarily the rip and then this energy in the head, okay? But it just feels like it's accumulating, and it's just like circulating and accumulating. I am trying to calm this reflection down. This is entirely tuned into you and your request. This is entirely tuned into what you're talking about, okay? So I'm just trying to relax this on down, calm this down. And as I do, this rip becomes kind of salivated, like a mucusy type sensation is developing in here, okay? But you can't get this mind stuff under control. Like it's just totally, it's almost like it blew out your brain. I mean, and your brain is made out of energy, and it just, you guys ever, I think they're called blobfish, but they have this like beautiful pristine essence under like deep under the water. But then when they're pulled up, they go through this transformation into what is this like blob fish. And that's terrifying. Like, what the living daylights is that? Can you imagine being caught and having a normal day-to-day blobfish reality as a beautiful, pristine, like surreal underwater fish being pulled out and going through this pressurized nightmare as your body is becoming a blobfish now, being pulled out of the water into what is this air environment, you know? It's kind of like this. It's like an impossible, surreal, like reality changer that can't be undone, and it can't be figured out. It can't be contained. It can't be controlled. So as I'm calming you down, okay, this is salivation, mucusy type thing. I feel this here, okay? Your mind is still blubbering out, almost like the pressure shifted, and now you're turning into the blobfish now. You're scared. You're very scared, and this is disturbing. But for some reason, this thing is literally slicing all the way through your entire ankle, and you have no foot now. This is absolute nightmare. This is a terrible nightmare. A very good example of blobfish into what is the pressure since, I mean, the transformation of terror. From a reality of peaceful blobfish life, thousands of feet underwater in the dark abyss, this is my happy place, now being pulled through some kind of nightmare and the pressure and etc. Like this kind of would, I could imagine this would be something similar. You have no ankle, okay? You have no foot. It was just, it literally, I felt just snap right off. It just snapped right off. This is also mortifying. This is also not copable. I mean, this is an alien event, okay? Because I'm experiencing different emotions than being human. And this is the best way my brain can comprehend the scene, is this, okay? So we got to work with what my brain can understand. So the next thing because your serenity was so infinite and so forever, and this surprise triggered a domino effect that was not to be undone, and then it's gotten worse. I mean, you are still absolutely alive. I mean, it just goes to show how the human being goes through like pain all day long, every day of its life. And this special being that you were never didn't know a day of pain in their life, didn't even know pain existed. So this is like an extreme difference. Okay. You have no skills to process this. You're just screaming your soul. Like, I can't even begin to explain, because I've never seen a soul do this before. It's very strange that there's no coping tool or anything. Like, you're just turning into a blobfish, basically. Like, emotionally, mentally, as a soul, you've ripped. You don't have a foot, you know. I'm still trying to calm all this down. Just continuing to relax this down. You're being taken now. And you're literally like a fish that's going to be eaten like a fish. And you're a humanoid type thing, because I can feel your arms and legs, and you're basically tossed into a containment with a bunch of other of these bodies like yours. There's no way to cope or understand this, and for the first time you feel cold. And you're paralyzed, like you're literally in shock because you have no emotion, you have no thought, you're just eyes that kind of blink in a way, like that's what it's like. There's no movement, there's nothing. You're not even there. You're so desensitized, like you can't function at all. But you are still in the body. You haven't died by any means. But this is a very cold environment, and I feel it's getting colder and colder and colder, like you're in an icy place. Like it's a very, very, like you're turning into like it's a freezer or something. Somehow you're still alive, but a lot of the others did not survive this. They all just died. I don't see, I mean, you're still alive. There's a few others here that are too, but they aren't moving. You, though, are moving. You are starting to sit up and try to understand what's going on. This is a shift from what is like, let's say you are evolved into like a serene, peaceful people, okay? And something that you never, like, there wasn't any need to understand the meaning of the life or the understand the universe and creation, because you just felt serenity. You didn't need to know anything more than that. And it felt like a very, very, like, it feels like this was like a single lifetime. Like this was the first lifetime in a way. But you went from a transcendent, a vibrational, like a higher dimension, and were pulled from a higher dimension into a lower dimension. And now, once you're in the lower dimension, you can't access the glow, because now you have to work with your biology in a way. Like it feels like you're working with your biology. You don't speak, you didn't, you never needed to speak or eat or, I mean, I'm telling you, it was like an angelic, it was like being in a heaven, but still having kind of a form, a physical form of some kind. And then something happened that tugged you out of that experience, and you became a physical body in a lower dimensional space, with others that are here. And they died. Like a lot of them died in this process, but you didn't. And not everyone did die. Some still remained alive. It's so cold. It's unbelievably cold. But you don't know even what death is. You don't even know what you don't even know what to how to understand this, because everything is so intuitively joyful. Like there's no need to even sleep, is what it felt like. Now suddenly you're thinking with your brain. Now suddenly you're have a survival instinct. Now suddenly you have to figure this out and try to survive. Now suddenly you're noticing you're cold and you don't like it. This without a foot is not bleeding or anything. It's just, there's just like, it's just cut there. But you can't stand up, you can't walk anywhere. You're just sitting upright and looking around. And there's others moving underneath the bodies, but there's, it's just mostly everybody died. Starting to realize you have bones, because I mean, everything was so serene. Like, how could you go from such a serene into such a, I mean, what am I to make of that? But you're standing up and you have one foot, and then you have this like bum foot leg. I mean, you can't stand on it, and it burns really bad. Like it burns like it was cauterized. It was cut. So it feels just like this terrible, 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 terrible burning. Like it burns so freaking bad. But you aren't crying about this pain. You're just trying to survive. You're trying to understand what the heck is going on here. So now, instead of being the blobfish that's completely powerless to this upper, the human world up here without the pressure in the water, you're actually trying to. You're different. You're different. You're very, very tall, like 11 feet tall. Very beautifully like slender, with some curvature, but for the most part, you're very skinny and tall, and you have like dolphin-like skin. But you have feet and arms. Somehow you're overriding the pain, of your burning, like it's not there. You are looking around, and you're starting to become again more aware in a survival instinct. Oh, this is gonna blow your mind. I don't know how you're doing this, but somehow you're learning very, very quickly learning. I don't even know what to make of this because of how fast you are learning, and you're opening some kind of energetic gateway. You're like, you literally are doing this from thin air, and you're using all of your biology in order to create it, to weave it into being. And it's made out of light and energy. It's made out of the substance that you're made out of. There seems to be other beings in this where you that took you. They look really fat, like really large, fat, oversized fish people. I mean, they look also like fish type, humanoid fish people. They would be the kind that would eat your kind. Trying to find a way to parallel it to cicadas. They just hear me out on this. I might not be 100% on all the facts, but this is kind of what my fantasy mind is reminding me about, that they are like, they could be born any time in like a 7-year period, and they decide when they're going to be born, but what actually decides inside of themselves, some divine spark. And during that time, they're just like waiting and waiting until they're ready to be born. And then they're born, and then they live like just that one season, and then they die. But what if during that time in incubation that they're fully aware and completely like almost like a high vibration and a super high dimensional space? As they come out, maybe they enter into a lower dimensions, but they still emit or experience life as the cicada. You know what I mean? Maybe but let's say somebody catches the cicada as it's coming out of its cocoon, right? As it's coming out of its heavenly space, and then it rips its leg off, and then it starts to toy with it and put it on a stick, and put it in formaldehyde, and then it's like asleep now, and we can put it in our cool little insect, like, what if this is parallel to something like this, where it was like born, it was so happy, it was so like in a heavenly space, then suddenly it's sort of maybe being born into a denser reality, but in the process of birth, something captured it. To take it into what now feels like your body, your instinctive dimension of space, and you have to figure out how to get out of this. In the process of being born into a physical reality. So what did I just walk into there? I'm trying to come up with a parallel of how maybe we could figure this out as human beings in our mind, is how this story is unfolding like this. So you're creating a doorway of light made out of your own material. I mean, it seems like you can emit light. You are emitting light. And you are weaving it. It's what it's like. It feels like weaving energy. And you're angry. You hate. You feel hate, and you feel vengeance. You feel like revenge. You feel like killing these other beings, these big fat fish people. And they're more like sharks, and you're more like dolphins. But they're the humanoid style to it. There is not like there's thoughts, there's technology, there's advanced abilities. What's interesting is this is literally just a pocket. So you go step into the light that you wove, and you become invisible, but you're still in the same space. You're still here. You're just invisible. I see the door close, and I see you still standing there, but you aren't accessible. You like wove yourself into a pocket in like in the air somehow. And you're learning, you're trying to figure out what you're supposed to do next. And you feel movement in your heart, and you cry, and the tears are like when they come out, they harden really quickly, and they look like little crystals. Really pretty. I mean, maybe that's because it's cold. Yeah, but they do. They look like little crystals. It's hard to understand what you're almost like you're telling me that this space has is like hmm. It's like you entered into your own mind. Imagine if you could energetically walk into your third eye and just disappear from this dimensional view because you just wove yourself into the fabric of your own energy and you just wove yourself into it. Even physically wove yourself into the energy of it. Isn't that surreal? I'm going to take a pause for a minute. There's a lot of exhaustion too following through with this. There's a lot of panic. There's a lot of I mean, this is complex stuff for my human mind, so I'm trying to interpret and to relay this information as best as I can. So I got to chill out in my own head for a minute, and then I'm going to go back. Okay. I'm going to ask your guides, your higher self, what else do we need to know about this lifetime or this story, or and what about this rip, so we can heal that energy? Do we need to know more about these other humanoid shark types? How does this relate to this human life, and why is this human experiencing these memories, experience these energies? It's part of you understanding the capacity of yourself, what you're capable of, and how you're different. Of all the ones that got pulled out, you found a way to hide. They're showing me a scene about, Resident Evil, Alice. She has all these clones, but they try to clone Alice, but they can't ever quite recreate her to be the original one. So it's almost like all these of the same types as you weren't able to make it, but you were able to make it. So you were like the Alice version of those people. You had something more to what you could do in that situation that others could not. Okay, you came up with something where they could not. I will say your guides also remind me of water and fish. There's something very simple. There's something very intelligent and wise about that energy. It's not as emotional, like I relate to being the human emotions. Um, it's not it has these instinctive reactions that I feel like I'm confused by them, but they do make sense to me. But there's so much intelligence to the reactions that we humans wouldn't even be able to conceive of such ideas. But it seemed to be instinctive for your body, for your place in time, that you could instinctively come up with something so surreal as that, to hide in the fabric of this energy space, like nobody could see you. You're hidden. You just walked into a doorway, just bam, you just did it. Didn't even feel like you knew what you were doing. Somehow you just instinctively created this exchange of movement. I'm going to step back again because I want to understand more. But it is slightly exhausting to pursue this lifetime. It's very exhausting on my head. It's very exhausting for me, actually, to physically pursue this, to physically connect to it and talk to you about it. It's exhausting on my heart. It makes it hard for me to breathe. Is this me tapping into what you were talking about, this heavy energy? So this could be me transmuting it for you. And so it's just a lot of energy to transmute. This rip here, it doesn't feel so ripped as it did. It doesn't even feel so mucusy. It feels like it's slowly mending. I'm going to have to just feel very, very exhausted right now, okay? Because that's how the only way I'm going to be able to transmute this energy in your head. Because it's the only way I'm going to be able to relax this all down and shift it. I'm going to have to really, really be present with it. This doesn't hurt me. It's just very different. Like, I don't know the words to define it, what I mean by that. So it's kind of cool in that way. You're still panicking. I'm really transmuting this, okay? So I'm going to feel very exhausted here. It's so strange. Your guides are really interesting and different. I mean, they're really like, I'm talking to fish people, like water people, different type of water people than I've ever talked to before. When I relax and get very exhausted in the energy that I'm transmuting from this version of you in this time and space, which still feels like it still exists somehow, because all time still exists for all eternity. It feels like I'm able to alter the energy pattern. I'm able to give you strength somehow. I'm able to help you get out of this. It's almost like you were chosen to change the circulation of how everything always went for these dolphin type people. It's like you were one that was pulled in. Like it's almost like the cicada pulled out of its cocoon, or the butterfly pulled out of its cocoon before it was ready, or something, like by these other beings that were eating you, that were eating your people. Okay. Something like this is what it's like. But you were one that was chosen in a way. Like you came to be able to get out of this somehow. You're very exhausted. You're still panicking. I'm just transmuting it. As I transmute it, I'm taken through a wormhole of information. And this, again, is very groggy. It's very dense. It's very exhausting. It feels like getting swallowed up by information. It feels like getting swallowed up, and I'm very, very confused. I'm just going to have to go with everything that comes, okay? It's all like black, and then it's squishy along the sides, and it's kind of a white color, like intestinal looking. It's very dense matter, very dense material. I feel like I'm getting flushed down, but I'm also pushing myself through it as well. There's all these weird squiggle lines and weird little things. I don't know, it's like little balls that are gyrating in here, and little squiggle lines. Like there's like weird little gyrating things in here as we move through it. I know what I'm supposed to do now. I just start snapping. I was like, no. I'm pulling all this energy back into yourself. That's part of this. That is part of your strength that got bulbed out. Like you, I'm pulling this all back into you. You're still in this pocket. That is so much better. Things are starting to move. Things are starting to get busy. Still pulling it in, still pulling it in, still pulling it in. And I'm pulling it back in the back side of you, okay? It's like it would be really close to the spine. It's not exactly in the center. It's along the side. And it's intestinal looking. And you just received a part of yourself back, and your mind is like so smart. And you felt that coming back to you, and you finally breathed like super deep, lots of air. And you're getting your wits about you. because you're actually super intelligent, like super, super, super intelligent, way more intelligent than these sharks. You're activating your heart now, and you're sending signals to the ones that were still alive, under the piles of frozen dead bodies. And you're sending signals to them. I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. This is where I am, this is where I am. So showing them how you did what you did. They're half dead. I mean, they're not even able to really function. They're almost going to perish now. They're too exhausted. This is too traumatizing for your species. It's too traumatizing. Like, it's instantaneous death because it's so overwhelming. There's one that is still conscious enough, and it's a female. And she's younger than you. And she has a blinking light inside of her mind, and she's sending you, it's like a signal inside of her head. And you're receiving it, and it comes through as the color purple. And there's a red-orange color to it as well. And right now you're stopped and you're understanding what she's saying. But she's kind of talking in the ways like, I'm sorry, or I can't do this, I'm going to die. Like, it keeps showing pretty waterfalls and water that is flowing. But it's saying something like, I can't, and I'm going to die now. I love you. It's kind of like that. And now the little girl is not, she's dead now too. They all died. The fishermen and the sharks are coming in now. And they don't. What's interesting is you're still physical. You're just invisible. But you can't move when you're in that state. So they could technically walk right into you. But this is the crazy thing, is you're sending out information without these shark people knowing it, and you're creating a energy pocket that is encouraging them to feel like they don't feel like walking right there. So they always walk around you and don't even think twice about why they're walking in these directions and not walking straight across. Like, they're just starting to pick up bodies, but they never go straight in where you're at. They never walk into you. They always walk around you, as if like you're sending out a signal that tells them not to walk into you. They've taken out all the bodies now, and it's just you in this very cold room. And you're a lot more relaxed. You don't think a second thought about everybody that died. You've accepted that already. Like, you understand that people die. You understand that. It doesn't make you sad. It doesn't even make you sad that all these parts of your species have died. It doesn't make you sad. Your guides still show me the rip is there, but you're tuning into your personal power. And you use sonar in the mind, like you're using like a radar type of system to send a signal out for very long distances to see if any more of your kind are out there. Because you need someone of your kind to come. And you're sending it signals out. Again, it doesn't feel like you need food. I don't feel like hunger at all. You're sending signals out. You're sending signals out. Your mind is feeling better. I will say, I'm going to start pushing some of this energy back in, where it was like blah, blah, blah. I'm just pushing this back in. It was like blubbery and golden looking, kind of pretty, but it was very extreme. I'm just pushing this back in. Everything's safe. Everything's fine. Your face is very strange looking. Just, I don't even know how to describe it. It's very long, for one. It doesn't have like a tip at the end. Like, it's just like a head that is really like oval. Let's just say it's oval shape, okay? And it's kind of a bone. It's like bony. It's like got bone in it. It's just like one big bone. and it has like a blowhole on the front, like a mouth, but it's just like for breathing. And I don't know what to make of these eyes. It's not a very pretty looking face. Like, it's about a very pretty looking thing. But I will say the energy it emits, the intensity, the beauty of mind and spirit, the love, the advanced like capacity, like it's extraordinary. It's very extraordinary. It doesn't talk. It doesn't eat. It's very psychic. It just remains in this pocket for as long as it takes. All right, I'm gonna have to take a pause for a minute here. So what are your guides, what can your guides tell us about this? I mean, your soul really knows about what this life is. How does this relate to this human life? Your guides are showing me that just to keep working on balancing this energy here, because there's an overlay with the gifts and the abilities that you worked with as that being, and it came out instinctively. Nobody taught you. Nobody said, "Oh, this is the gifts of our race and species, and this is how you do it." You had to work on complete instinct to see if it would come out, and it did come out of you. Then nobody else could follow through. It was just too traumatizing. So there's a message in this about your developing your own gifts. It may be like you are the master of yourself, like it's an instinctive, intuitive thing, like it just comes out. But they're showing me this life and how it overlays, because there's a total psychic capacity here. The message even about Alice and Resident Evil, there's a reason why Alice is coming up, because she too has, like, she's this extraordinary one of a kind person. Like, there's some kind of adaptability that your soul has, that you sensed out, that you were able to just activate it. You were able to just activate it. And that is like a big surreal part of the message, that you were different because you were able to just activate it. Where the others could not, you could. And so they're really wanting me to heal this energy right now, okay? To really heal this energy, because that's going to help you big time with what the next things are for you in your life. Okay, hold on. Some screaming here so just a second. I'm getting kind of pushed into one of these weird tunnels again. There's a lot of vulnerability. There's a lot of like, you're really overwhelmed. This is kind of entering into the human side, okay? This is merging more with this human moment. It's panic. It's very, very like screaming, overwhelmed. That might be ego stepping into its. I mean, ego could be analyzing this and like, hell no, you will not be that psychic here on Earth. This is too much. I can't cope. Like, ego needs like babying and time to get used to. The psychic awakening can be like interesting, and how the relationship with ego and psychic awakening works together or doesn't. But there's a lot of panic, a lot of severe screaming and terror. Again, I'm shifting between an alien lifetime as though it is overlaying exactly simultaneously with this life. Even if this lifetime feels like it was a long time ago, it still exists, and it's overlaying right now with this life. And I'm healing the memory. I'm healing this energy so that you can feel the upgrade, okay, within your own energy field. And you can tune into and remember and understand and think about the meaning of this, because that in itself is what helps, with all this energy movement and upgrades and all that stuff. Yeah, ego is not is start relaxing. Also, this trauma energy relaxing, but you're like in the mind. The mind is choosing to be confused. I don't get it, and then pretending like it doesn't know what I'm talking about. It wants to continue to carry the burden of the pain because your ego would judge this or identify this as too hard. I don't want to do it. So you're up against ego. We all are, though. We're all up against ego. I mean, but you were up against the shark guys. You were up against the impossible, you know? So is the ego, we could say the ego is the impossible, but what if it's not? You know, you've proven here that you could override the impossible and you can do it again in this life. There's still a lot of work to do here with the energy, with your head, and there's still a lot of work. I mean, there's still work to do here. I'm going to sing you a song, okay, in your energy field. And it's like an underwater song that my soul knows about. It's kind of like Ariel, the little mermaid. She knows music too, under the sea. I guess that was the little crab guy, wasn't it? He knows under the sea. It's like a water music. I don't know. If it's just like it's very Ariel like. It's very pretty and it's familiar to your soul. It's familiar to other beings, other races you've explored. It's to mend your heart, mend your throat, mend. I mean, it's like a rip that came right down into your heart. It's almost like you want this to become a scar so you'll never forget, but I say you'll never forget. Let's just heal it. It doesn't need to be a scar so you can remember. Again, that's ego creating like ideas and reasons why we don't want to heal this. When we do want to heal this, and you are capable and you are ready of opening up to who you are. I like to remind people that everything is a process in this world. So even me developing my own psychic gifts, I've been introduced to this my whole life, but through doing journeys and I'm getting better and better and better and better and better and better. So you fine tune, you fine tune, you fine tune, you fine tune for the rest of your life. You'll fine tune, and then you'll be open up to new ideas and new ways of doing things. You fine tune that, you know, and so everything is a process. There is a lot of interesting feelings, vibrations. Like it is so weird the way that your head feels. Like, I mean, I don't know how to describe it. It's like it's weird. Like it's tingly and it's kind of like my hands kind of can push into it. Like there's just a little squish layer in there. It's kind of weird, and it's like a super jet black blue color with like a golden sparkles. Still a lot of work to do when it comes to the energy of the head. A lot of breathability happening here, which is good. Circulation in the heart, emotional gut. You're starting to feel safe being human. You're starting to open your eyes and remember now. You're starting to say, I remember. And you're starting to look at your body and you're starting to say, I am a human and I'm beautiful. And I can take what I've learned in other lives and open up to them in this life. And I can take the impossible. Like I can find a way to open up to the impossible because that's the type of soul that I am. I'm capable of breaking the boundaries down. I mean, you really need to say that out loud. Um, you need to see yourself as the Alice type. Like, you have a knack for breaking down the barriers, for breaking through the impossible wall, for overriding things. And is that a tall order? There's nothing you have to think about when it comes to figuring out how to do that. It just seems to kind of come out of you just instinctively. Just let things flow. But tell your guides, like, show me, let me see. This type of session, I would encourage you just let this energy process, because you're going to feel a lot of shifts and changes from this for sure. Because that was extraordinary, to enter into a life like that is paralleling right now this life, even if it feels like it's from the past. I can't understand the relationship with time, because I could even say that it feels like the future. So it just paralleling right now perfectly. And this like scar thing, the scar tissue, this rip, is mending. This is healing, and you'll never forget. You don't have to. You don't need the scar to remember. Like you can mend this now, and you still carry the memory because you're the soul. Yeah, that was super great. Thank you so much for this experience. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you for sharing. For those watching, if any of you are interested in exploring a psychic session with me, please come visit me at my website at abbeynormalswisdomquest.com. I'm also on Patreon at patreon.com/abbeynormalswisdomquest. Have a great day, everybody.